It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. It's a journal by someone that just really doesn't like to write.
Let's do a podcast, shall we? Let's do it. Let's get into it today. I've got to get to my notes. Today, we're cleaning up the notes I keep for the show. I need to get the page fresh again. It's been a while, right? We had the Jack Ferris podcast, but last week there wasn't enough, so I've just written a bunch of stuff down. And I don't know if any of it's worthwhile, so we're going to find out today on the podcast. I do have a story I want to share with you from my life last week and kind of where we're at with 3 kids and life here at the Widmer house. We've got Kelly's What Are You Into and more. So thank you for tuning in as usual. And for those of you who support the podcast, thanks for making it possible. The patrons of the Sean Widmer Podcast over at patreon.com/Sean Widmer Podcast means a lot. People who are throwing their money to help support the podcast. You're also the reason why we had Trivia 21 yesterday. If you haven't checked that out yet, check it out. It's over on my Patreon page. If you're not a Patreon member, you can listen to the first round, see if you like it. We're doing them every Tuesday. So if you like it, hey, throw $5 a month at me. It helps support this project right here, keeps this thing going, and it keeps the Trivia 21 going. You get to listen to the whole thing, post your score, let us know how you did. Okay, we got to get into stuff today. There was no 5-star reviews on iTunes with comments, so I do not need to read that. We'll read the comments at the end. So that means I'm open to a shout-out. I'm going to give it to my buddy Andy, Dre Scott, because he works at a rec center back in Washington, and the last podcast was called The Rec Center with Jack Ferris, and I think Andy thought it was about rec center stuff, so he got all excited that I was going to break down rec centers, and instead it was about Jack's podcast. Andy, I'm sorry you get the shout out today, and I will say Andy runs an unbelievable rec center. It has one of my favorite things, his 3-on-3 league that he started. I'd highly recommend, if you're a hoops fan, checking out a 3-on-3 league. Andy, I want yours to continue. It's in Airway Heights, the Airway Heights Rec Center. Go bother Andy about it. Tell him that you want the 3-on-3 league to expand, and let's make his life a little more stressful, right? Let's do that. Let's make Andy's life more stressful by getting more teams in it and forcing him to expand into gym space he doesn't have. There you go. There you go, Andy. There's some rec center talk for you, but that 3-on-3 league's awesome. Watching the Olympics and watching so much of that 3-on-3 basketball they play, I want to try it so bad. The FIBA 3-on-3. I played it many, many years ago when we tested it out at Hoop Fest on like a Thursday night or Friday night, a random night before Hoop Fest, and it was really cool. But I want to play more of it. I thought it was awesome. We played it as sort of a demo, and they didn't let us just run free. Like every time something would happen, there was someone like, okay, now here's the ball went through the basket, take it out real fast. And it was almost like they were using us like video game characters, controlling us. And we didn't just get to fluidly play the game. I want to try it. It looks very, very fun. Okay, there's the shout out. Since there was no 5-star reviews on iTunes, we always kick the show off with that. And by always, I mean that's like within the last maybe 2 months. Let's get to it. Work stuff. My work's going great. I'm loving my work. Studio 46. I love working there. We have an awesome building, an awesome team. We do awesome work. We've got a Flo Rida concert we're setting up this Friday night. Flo Rida. I'm in this weird spot in our building where I think I'm the only person who likes Flo Rida. And I'm working with a lot of people who I think know who Flo Rida is, but don't love him. And so I've been walking this fine line all week where I'm still trying to incorporate myself into work and, trying to make sure I've got friends there and I'm fitting in okay. And so I'm trying to walk this fine line of being like, hey, we got the Flo Rida. No big deal. We got the Flo Rida show Friday. What a loser, right? What a bunch of crappy music, right? Or like trying to feel the vibe like, yeah, he's all right. When really inside I'm like, dude, Flo Rida, he has hits. I mean, he's got hits. You go to a Flo Rida concert. My wife and I have been to multiple at Northern Quest Resort and Casino. She got on stage for one of them and shook her booty on stage with Flo Rida, much to the amusement of my buddy Mike and I, who were like, of course, that he called for people to come on stage. She couldn't have got up there fast enough. I guess when she was younger, that her dance team had a dance routine to Low And so as soon as he called people up on stage for that song, she was like, well, look, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to do the old 8th grade dance routine, which she did. And it was hilarious. Anyways, we love some Flo Rida. I went with Andy, aforementioned Andy, and his wife, Jalen, and Anna. We went to Flo Rida. He rips his shirt off and shakes it around his head because he's got them muscles. So anyways, I say all that to say I enjoy Flo Rida. I'm not like seeking out his music every day on the way to work, but if it comes on, I'm turning it up. I'm loving it. And so we've got this on Friday night. Where are we at? Again, I wrote down a bunch of little notes. Studio 46. It's been great. Great people to work with. I'm starting to feel more comfortable with people, so I'm trying to have some conversations, build relationships. I really like getting to know my coworkers. I think our team is a very strong team, and you only make it stronger by making connections with everyone and having everyone on that same page and liking everyone, and your team is just better. So one of the gals who works in our building, her name is Ashley. She works in sort of, I believe, the bookkeeping department. Ashley, if you ever find this podcast, sorry, I don't know exactly what your job is. I just know you're always busy typing. And I think you're always correcting my errors on any kind of invoice stuff that I'm doing. So Ashley is out there grinding. I love her. She's so nice. And so every day when I get in, I'm in there at 8 o'clock. And for some reason, I pull in at the same time as her every time. And today, I finally am feeling good about things. I'm feeling like I've talked to her enough to warrant an early morning. How's it going? So she gets out of her car. I park kind of far away. I can see her up ahead of me. I'm walking to one entrance. She's walking to the other, and I yell down, "Hey, Ashley, how's it going?" And she waves back and walks into the building. I'm like, "Oh, that's great." And then as I'm walking into the building, I look up, and a car pulls in, and it's Ashley. So there's that. I'm trying to be, a guy at work who's enjoyable to be around and trying to bring team together. And I'm calling someone who I don't know randomly the wrong name. And the timing on it couldn't have been better. I mean, it was as I say hello to her, wave, I'm like feeling good, look up, and there's Ashley pulling in on her car. So whoever it was today that I said hi to, I don't know you yet. I'm praying that your name is Ashley also, and that it was no big deal. But otherwise, that whole area now thinks I'm a buffoon because I'm calling people the wrong names. So that's work. There's a work update for you. Flo Rida, and I don't know anyone's name. Let's see. What things, before we get to my trip to PetSmart, I'm looking at my notes real quick. Let's see what I needed to get off my chest. Lamps, right? What's the deal with lamps? No, lamps. I've had this observation for a number of years, and I just need to bring it out into the open because it's happening to a lot of us. And if you are not the person right now who can agree with this or understand this in any way, congratulations. There's plenty of us out here on the other side with lamps. We need, in 2024, better lamp technology. Okay? The pull thing is fine. The push thing and I'm talking about we need better technology on reading lamps, end table lamps. Pull thing's fine. Push thing is fine. The twisty knob has got to go. The twisty knob's got to go. There's never been a time where I have sat down on a couch or if I'm in my son's room on his little rocking chair and I'm trying to reach over to turn the lamp off. It's one of the more frustrating things that exists in humankind because you never put your hand up and are able to twist the knob on the first try. It's always at a weird angle, so now your arm's up there. You're trying to twist it. It's at your hand gets either touches hits the what do you call it? The lampshade. It hits the lampshade, knocks it. Now we got a wobbly lamp, or you get caught on the little metal bar that's keeping the lampshade together, and now it's like wobbling on that, and it's a mess. And then you finally find the twisty thing, and it's never where your hand can reach, so you're like contorting your arm and like breaking your arm to try to get the lamp thing twisted. Then you can't quite twist it. And then the worst part with the twisty things on the lamp, you click it finally, you're sweating, you click the lamp, and nothing happens. And it's the dumbest thing. So you're like, what? And then you click it again and nothing happens on the second click. So now you're mad. You click it a third time. Nothing happens immediately. But then right as you're starting to twist it again out of anger, the light comes on delayed, 2 seconds delayed. And it's like, oh, the light's on. And then you accidentally click it again and now it's back off. And your arm hurts and it's a mess. Twisty knobs for a lot of us are a mess. Again, you might be listening to this right now and you have no problem with it. Congratulations, you're perfect. But for the rest of us, I'm going to even say it, the majority of us, that kind of technology needs to be out the window. I don't know what the solution is, but I know that we need to be better, right? I don't know how to make an iPhone, but I know that they're great and I know someone made them. So let's get better with lamp technology. I need it easier. Even if you put the switch somewhere else in the lamp that makes it better. I'm tired of reaching up inside of there and trying to figure out where the knob is. It never is where you want it to be either, ever. And it's never where it was the last time. So if you are the smart person who you go, okay, well, this is where my lamp's at. I'm going to twist it so that when I put my hand up inside of the lampshade, I know right where it is. The next time you do it, it will not be there. I promise you that. Okay, I wanted to get that off my chest. You're welcome. Oh, I had a message for, who did I have a message for? You got to get to my trip to PetSmart. But I did have a message for kids, for parents. You can feel me on this one. Preschool, kindergarten, I'm sure first grade, any of those grades, Sunday school, any of those grades for youthful kids who have music in their classroom. Teachers, we got to have a playlist. We got to have a playlist. This is it's 2024 thing. We got to be better than this. Do not take my kid for a day at school or a morning at Sunday school. Play them music for the entire morning. Get songs stuck in their head that are great songs, and then put them back in my control. I put them in my vehicle, and now they're begging me for a song I have no idea what it is. And so I am now sitting there trying to listen to the lyrics they think they heard on this song that they are dying to hear again. And I'm trying to Google search the weird words they're saying, which are never right. And you can never find these songs your kids heard at school or wherever it was. And I just need it's so easy, teachers. Put together a playlist. I don't care if they're on YouTube. I don't care if they're on Spotify, whatever. But when my kid is screaming at me to play the song they just heard in school for 4 hours, I need to be able to access that immediately. All right. So there's a little memo for teachers. Thank you for getting that done for us parents. We appreciate it. We've got 3 kids in the house, 4-year-old, 2-year-old, 0-year-old. And it's been, great. I love it. Our kids are awesome. They're, sometimes a lot. My daughter has been very interesting. She's been very interesting with the addition of the baby, kind of looking for attention certain ways. My son's still that way, still crazy. And so it's just been a lot. We are tired in this house. Must have been Saturday. I forget when it was. Anyways, it had been a long day. Kids had worn me out. I made it through the day and I was tired. And I think, I don't remember what was happening, why I think my wife had done something. I forget how it went. Anyways, I was tired. So I get to the end of the day and I'm just gassed. And I had mowed the lawn that day. We had done a couple other projects that day. I think we had maybe gone swimming that day. So it's just tired. And I get done. Last kid goes to bed. I go downstairs. I've got to get something out of my truck. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have a popsicle. I'm going to have a popsicle right now. Take a popsicle. Eat a popsicle. I'm chewing on the wooden spoon while I'm fixing some stuff up in the garage, just kind of decompressing. And I remember I've got to go to PetSmart and get Jovi, our dog food. So I'm like, I got to do this quick because it's about to close. So I really quickly go. I put sandals on. They're right there. My Birkenstocks are right there. Put them on. Get in the truck. Text my wife. Going to get the dog food. And I speed off to PetSmart, and I'm just like trying to beat the clock. So I get there. It's still open. Thank goodness. We're at the buzzer. There's maybe 15 minutes left, and I jump out of my truck. And I'm running in, and as I'm running in, I'm like, why do I still have this popsicle stick in my mouth? I'm just chewing on this wooden popsicle stick. And I look down, I'm in sweat shorts that are stained, and I've got just kind of a grubby shirt on, and I'm in my Birkenstocks with white socks on. So I've got the socks and sandals going, which I know isn't as much of a faux pas with Birkenstocks or slides, but it's still just not the best look for me right now. So I'm already feeling like, really showed out to go to PetSmart tonight. Really put it all together. And so in my head as I walk in, I go, I got to get rid of this stinking popsicle stick. And then I immediately forget about that as I'm focused on the dog food. So I'm now walking around with this popsicle stick in my mouth, with my socks and sandals, with my bad shorts on. And I come back up to the cash register. They're probably 15 minutes from closing. So I'm also an annoying customer. And put the bag of dog food on the conveyor belt. It starts sliding forward, and the girl's sitting there. She's like, "Did you find everything okay?" And as I go to talk, the popsicle stick that's in my mouth, that's all saliva filled and just broken down from me chewing on it for 10 minutes, falls out of my mouth because I'm a slob, I'm tired, and I'm a mess. And it falls out of my mouth and hits perfectly on the dog food. Okay? Bam, right on the top. I'm like, oh. And then as saliva is flying off of this thing, it rotates. It takes a hard right off of the bag, flip, and perfectly on its face splatters right on that part of the scanning device. That's the glass part where you slide the bag over to get the barcode. Splat. Makes a splat. Leaves, as you can see, a line of saliva off the end of it pointing towards the girl. I didn't know what to do. I stood there. I reached over, grabbed the popsicle stick off of the scanner. I just looked at the girl. I go, "It's been a long day," which is the dumbest thing to say. Sure, it's been a long day. My day was a long day with my family at my house. She's at work, not needing some guy to come in at the last second in socks and sandals, not needing a guy to come in with stained sweatpants, looking like I'm just coming off the streets. Definitely not looking for a guy who's chewing a random popsicle stick by himself without any kids, slipping it out of his mouth and letting it fall right onto her scanner. Didn't need that. So am I having a long day? I don't think so. That's what I told her. What a time it was. I couldn't have got out of there faster. And now I have to go to a new Petsmart forever. I can never go back there again.
Kelly's, what are you into?
I have been into this lately, and it's been kind of fun. I don't know what started this. I was sitting on the couch the other night, and again, our night times, I've just been tired. Huck has been the kids have been, they're great, but they've been a lot, but they've been great. They just need a lot of attention right now with the addition of Woods while we figure this out. And I got done, got the kids to bed, and I just came down to the basement. I had my laptop, and I just sat down. I was like, I need to take some deep breaths. And I don't know if it was on Twitter or what caused it. I think it was the fact that Game Informer, that's what it was. Game Informer, talked about it on the podcast a while ago, announced that they were done making the magazine. Video game magazine, very influential to me in my college days and beyond. I loved that magazine. There's probably a 10-year chunk of my life from 2000 to 2010 where I subscribed to it. I'd get the magazine sent to my house once a month, and I just loved it. And I wanted to go back and remember it. So I was searching online to see if there's any articles, and I found somebody who had scanned a ton of Game Informer magazines. So they had scanned them and they put them up online. I don't know how legal it is, but then I was like, this is kind of cool. And it led me to finding old Sports Illustrateds and other magazines, gaming magazines, sports magazines, some of them from back in the 50s and 60s, a lot of them from 90s and 2000s where I remember the covers of them. And so I've just been diving into the internet, finding all these old magazines and just kind of thumbing through them virtually. And it's been really fun and really enjoyable, but it's been like a weird eye opener to how different things are now. I mean, like really weird. You get all these articles. They're awesome articles. They're very well written, but it's interesting to think, okay, this came out once a month and it was all these stories that now just exist every morning on a website. And this was like, what stories were you going to get for this entire month? It's weird to think about now. One of the other things, though, that I found interesting was the magazines wanting feedback from their audience. And in today's day and age, you just put something up on X or Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and you have people can vote right there. Put it on your website, make a little poll thing, and people can vote. Oh, do we want more of this, less of this? They were talking about, would you be willing to take our questionnaire? And I was like, what a time that these magazines would want some feedback. And so there was two cool things that would happen. They would have a questionnaire, or they'd send out a questionnaire to you that you could fill out. So it was kind of their report card on how the magazine was doing. And I found that to be very fascinating. I never had the opportunity to fill out one of these questionnaires, but how cool is that? And then the other thing I love from magazines, and I love doing the comments at the end of every episode of the podcast, and maybe this is subconscious why I like this. I love in magazines when they have letters, complaints, praises, questions, when they would post those letters inside their magazine. I love it. I love it. One of the magazines that I've been looking through, it's called Dungeon Magazine. It's the company that made Dungeons and Dragons. It's their magazine, and they've got all like these old articles that kind of there's some good history stuff in there. It's just one of the magazines I've been thumbing through, and they do a great job by posting a bunch of these questions at the beginning of their magazine. And it's fun, right? Someone will they'll get a bunch of questions, and then a lot of them, they'll have people who write for the magazine answer the questions or respond to it, whether it's a complaint or, hey, we don't understand this part of the game, and they would write an answer back. It's so unique and so cool, and I love that was how the interaction goes. Whereas now you can just email somebody, get a response later that day. You can go on Twitter and hit them up there, and it's just so much more instantaneous. And think about it, back in the day, you'd send your letter and hope that you were the one they responded to, and then you'd wait, and at the end of the month or the next month, you'd get that magazine, open it up, and be like, did they respond to my message? I don't know, it's kind of cool. So I've been enjoying that. It's been very fun looking through all these old magazines, and yeah, the Sports Illustrated stuff is great, because I found some Sports Illustrated, some ESPN the magazines, and that is like the covers that I remember. I'll just click a year, click an episode or an article, and I'm like, oh, that was a great episode. I don't remember one thing in it, but that was a great art. That was a great picture in the front. Football season 1996 right there. Look at that. It was a New York Jets. I think it was Keyshawn Johnson, New York Jets. No, it wasn't Keyshawn. I forget who it was. There's a New York Jets cover that when I was in Venezuela, we would get Sports Illustrated, but it wouldn't come every week. We would be lucky to get one a month. Normally it was like one every 3 months. There was an article, we didn't get one for 4 or 5 months. And so there was one Sports Illustrated with a New York Jets player getting tackled in like 94, 95. I have not found the article yet in the archives I've seen, but it's the article, the Sports Illustrated magazine I remember. I'm going to find it, and it's going to be great. So anyways, that's what I've been into. That was a lot. Okay, let's read some comments. Let's get out of here. You can make your comments over at seanslife.com. You can do it on Spotify or on YouTube. On Spotify, we got this from our good friend Yvonne. She says, you would have been a good... Okay, this is in regards to Jack Ferris and I replacing Dave and Ken. You would have been good replacements for Dave and Ken, but not sure how much I might listen because I got to listen to Jay, Kevin, Steven, and the Friday guys. Yvonne. Yeah, I mean, come on. They got to go to commercial. You can tune into us when we're on commercial. Anyways, can't wait to listen to the rest of the conversation with Jack on Patreon. Yeah, going to come out this weekend, I believe. Should come out this weekend. I got to do a little bit of editing because there was a couple interruptions I had with kids waking up, so I just got to make sure I take those out. I don't want to forget about that. Roberta said this over at seanslife.com. She did. Okay, she sent me a picture. She was looking to see if I had a new episode up, and right above the episode was a commercial. And the commercial was for Sonic, which is the most they hit my hopeful target audience right in between the eyes, whatever podcast service that was. And she said, did laugh at the Sonic ad that came up when I checked YouTube first. They must know you. Glad you had a good time with the folks and that you let them rest and recharge for the daily kid tussle. Game sound interesting. Emma was thrilled with hers, I heard. Yeah, Roberta does a thing where she gives all newlyweds a care package of games. It's a great gift. And Jay, who I did the morning show with, his daughter just got married. Congratulations, Emma. Congratulations. I mean, this, I'm at that age where I met Emma when she was 2 or 3, and now she's married. That's wild. So I hit that age. This is like one of my first one of those moments. And yeah, Roberta does that. It's a great gift. Highly recommended to people who are wondering what to get newlyweds. Get them just some classic standard games to start building that collection up. Okay, thank you for listening. I very much appreciate it. Your favorite 15-minute podcast is done for the day.